we made it.
We
Only
found
took 52 minutes.
Yes, indeed.
Welcome, SIPPI King. Welcome.
Hello, everybody on SIPPI King.
I feel bad because I had a bunch of people waiting in the other chats. It was like 9 people waiting in one, 3 people waiting in another. So now I hope they'll find us. My people are pretty good at getting around to finding me, so they know like my notifications don't show up.
But they will. They will.
Well, welcome in. I'm going to put your link in the chat for sure, and I want people to check out your book.
Right. It's a great poetry.
Great. Yes. I love that you poetry. That's great.
Right. Yep. I wrote a second book. I wrote a second publish it yet, but I'm gonna wait till the summer and then I'm gonna try to come on out with it. But I'm gonna find a second self-publishing company that's recommended. Highly recommended.
Right. So, did you self-publish on Amazon, or did you find a publishing company first?
No, I found a publishing company first. It was called American Publishing Company.
Okay.
And they are out of Texas. They are a very recommendable publishing company.
Well, that's good to know, because I always thought that like self-publishing on Amazon might be the best way, but then I always wondered, does Amazon take a cut? I don't know.
Yeah, they actually do. My next plan is to go to Lulu and Google Books because Google
Books exist.
Lulu and Google Books, you get all the profits, all 100%, no cuts taken out.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. So that'd be my next step for my next book when I come out with it. But right now, I'm still trying to come up out of this little hole I'm going through in life, But once I find that to where I want to get it to, which I'm not trying to speak on all my business, but once I get my finances to where I want to be, I'm gonna start back with the promotion company to promote my book, and that's how I come off the ground. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do, because really you have to pay marketing and promotion in order for your books or any product to income. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's my plan.
I've always heard that too. If you do write a book, like it's really on you to promote it, because like, who's going to promote it unless you're on the New York Best Publisher list? You know what I mean? Like, and how do you get there? You probably got to buy it.
Well, not really. You can call. There's many book promotional companies on Google. You have to look them up. That's a ton of them on Google. There's some in California. There's some in Texas, and they won't charge that much. Like maybe a couple $100, maybe $400-500 to the max. If you're dealing with a medium range book marketing company, if you want to deal with the big timers like the major players, you got to pay a couple $1,000s.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
But depending on your book and the reach you think you might get, it might be worth $1,000.
Oh, most definitely.
Because sometimes you put in 1,000, you might make 10, 20. So it might be worth it. But it just depends on your book and how you believe in yourself, I guess, right?
Yes. And then on top of that, it's the reputation of the promotional company, because some promotional companies have bad reputations. So you have to read the reviews, the comments and reviews on Google about the company before you spend your money and put your money into the company to promote your book or product.
Now, just curious, I haven't bought your book yet, but I plan on it because I was looking at the price, and I mean, $10 on Kindle, $15 for a paperback. I'm kind of a paperback kind of girl. I won't read it if I get the Kindle, so I'm probably going to invest in the paperback. But I'm curious, have you sold more Kindle copies or paperback copies?
Well, I sold a couple ebooks so far. The paperback's not selling right now. Like, people don't. This is more of a technology generation. Like, people of this generation believe in technology. So everything is electronic, like the laptops, ebooks, audiobooks. Those are the type of products that people are more in tune with. people are not in tune with paperback books or hardback books anymore. You know, that goes back to the old days. People from the old days,
right.
yeah.
Well, it costs more. It costs more to produce a book by print, and it's, you know what I mean. It's something you got to wait for in the mail. You know, oh, did they deliver it in the rain? I just had that
Nah,
happen. I bought a paperback book, and the Amazon driver left it in the rain, and I had to send it back and get a new one.
no
You know,
way.
so it's pain in the ass. You know, like who
Yeah.
needs that? So yes, digital age is here upon us, and that kind of leads me into our topic. Do you know that, you know, what we were going to talk about is how things have changed since 2020. And I think that's the one big thing
Well,
is nobody goes to the library no more.
no, they don't.
Nobody buys books anymore. That's a great point.
Yeah. Yeah, people of this generation, like they don't believe in, I'm gonna say, the simple things in life. You know, the
Right.
simple steps in life to go get to where you want to get to in life. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or progress in life. And you know, in order to progress in life, you have to do the simplest things first. You have to be courteous to people. You have to understand other people. You cannot be up. How should I say it? You can't be stuck up, or you can't be selfish. You know, you have to be a loving person. You know, in this life, in order to be blessed and progress and succeed. Because you know, you have to think about this. Okay, we live in a universe, right? On this earth. Okay, the energy you put into the universe is the energy you get back. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whether it's positive or negative, and see that goes to explain the reason why the things are going on in this world that's going on right now. Why all these situations with these social problems, from social problems to financial problems to violence to you name it. You know, that's the main reason why we have problems in our society, because people don't understand the foundation and the basics of producing a peaceful, progressive life. You know,
Right.
so like I said, what you put into the universe is what you get back. That's why I try to be as courteous, kind-hearted. Well, then it better yet. They say you can't be nice to everybody, you know, because of the times we're living in. But it's hard to do. You have to do it in order to succeed and be successful. Like me and you right now, you know, we doing this together because we on a mission. So that's how you have to be in life with everybody in order to get off the hump or get to where you want to get to in life. Because if you're not doing that, you'll never get nowhere. You know what I'm saying? That's why I learned, I changed, and that's why I learned to be more of an understanding person towards other people, not to judge people or look down on other people or talk down on other people. Because like when you do that, like I said, bad things come on you. That's the main reason why we have a lot of violence going on in this country. That's the main reason why people are going through financial problems, because they don't know how to collaborate with other people. There's ways to make money in this world. There's no excuse. There's no exceptions. You know what I mean? It's so easy to become rich now. People say it's still hard to get rich. No, it's not, because you can generate multiple streams of income from
What's the secret,
AI.
SIPPI King? What's the secret? Everybody wants to know that. So you know you gotta gotta
Right,
lead in. Let's
right,
dip into this one toe at a time.
right. My bad. It was like my
'Cause that's
fault.
what everybody wants to know. It's true. How do I succeed? And how do I make money? And everybody thinks they're gonna jump on TikTok and be rich.
No,
It
it's gonna
takes a
happen.
lot more than just jumping on there and pushing
Right,
play. It
right,
really does. And you and I both know that. Like it's vision, you've got
right,
you've got to have goodness in your heart, I believe. And if you don't
right.
have that, you're not going to make it. You know,
Sure
it's a
not.
little more than, oh, look at my catfish makeup or look at me scratching scratch tickets.
Right,
There's more to it than that. And I mean, I totally believe what you're saying is so true. But that's a hook right there. What you got, that's a hook to get people to listen to you. Do you know what I mean? So they
exactly,
should all buy your book. They should all buy your
exactly.
book and understand where you're coming from. I did
Right.
pin the book down in the comments, guys. I've had someone ask, what's the book called? It is pinned in the comments. There's an Amazon link if you need it.
Yeah, go ahead and get it. You'll love it. It's a great book.
And that's one of the reasons So I just randomly found you going through lives because I'm often like, I do lives all the time. Well, why don't people watch my lives? So I go through and they say, well, look at what other people are doing, So I go on live and I'm like, well, I saw yours. And I'm like, this guy's doing what I'm doing. He's talking about that's real. Like, he's not playing around. He's being himself. He's talking like, this is real. This is real. We had a conversation. I'll admit I was a little buzzed that night, but we had a real conversation. And I was like, he's smart. And like, I want to understand more about this guy. And we were kind of on the same level, YouTube-ish. You know what I mean? You don't have 1 million followers. I don't have 1 million followers. But then I look at your past videos. We got a lot in common. You write poetry. I used to write poetry like crazy. I don't have it in a book. You're more organized than me. So I was like, this is a guy that I need to link up with, and I need to go farther. Maybe we can help each other. And so, I'm glad that we're able to get this live to work today. Everything came into factor. Like, I had an active shooter in my city today. They were locking people in Walmart. I'm glad I didn't go to Walmart. I went to Sam's Club right next door. But if I went to Walmart, I'd probably still be locked in there right now. So I saw people on Facebook Live saying, oh, we're locked in Walmart. I'm like, I was next door. The traffic was crazy.
Thanks to the grace of God, you are safe. That's the main thing.
Exactly. It's the armor of God. It's the armor of God. That's exactly it. And it is. It's like, if you got good in your heart, things are going to happen good the way they're supposed to for you. And so then I got home late. I'm texting you like, I'm going to be late. And then I can't get the thumbnail to upload. And then I can't get like the link to you. And I'm like, everything is coming into play today. Like, what is going on? Why is this happening? It's the Matrix, guys.
It's the Matrix.
If you let it bother you, it's going to stop you.
Right.
But if you embrace it and you say, yeah, baby, bring it, Matrix, I got you. Like, you get through it. I believe that's what happens. I got through it with you. In the last video I posted, I was talking about it. I've taken that route 1 million times. I never had a red light. The last time I went in that, when I'm making a video, I get every single red light. And I'm like, it's because they're trying to drive me crazy. They're trying to get me in a mood, And when they get you in the mood and they get you in that place, siphon off your energy. Siphon it all off.
You're surely right about that one. Because
you lose yourself in there.
Yeah. And that's a good point what you just said. That's one of the main reasons why you have a ton of angry, frustrated people out here. In these different
like you mentioned violence. That's exactly it. Like, I had an active shooter today in my city. I guess it was a lady in some kind of, I don't know if it was a structure, a home or whatever, a vehicle, and she was shooting all the people. And all I said to myself was, she lost her shit. Could be any one of us.
Exactly.
Could be any one of us.
Exactly.
She lost her shit. She had enough. I can relate. I can relate. I'm trying not to be that person, but I get it. I get it. This is a frustrating world, and it's built to drive you crazy. So if you can stay on the path and do right, I believe God, he can see you. He can see you. He says, you're my people. And that's really what I feel.
I feel the same way. I fully agree with you on that. And that goes into the same title as spiritual warfare.
Yes.
Because like the good people, like I'm gonna say it like this: the good people, the righteous people that's here on this earth, we are the ones that have to suffer. I'm talking about socially wise now.
But we're built for it.
Right.
Let me put that in there. We are built for that.
Right. And then you have these other people on the other side of the fence who are evil. Like I said, angry attitudes, always angry with everybody.
Haters.
Always want to take out they anger out on other people, mistreat other people. Those are evil spirits right there. You know what I mean? So,
I believe it's humans possessed by evil.
Exactly.
I don't think it's always just straight evil. I also think that sometimes it's a good person who's allowed them in through a window and they're possessed by it. And they can heal from it, but they have to go through the right steps.
Right.
And you can't tell people what to do.
It's like me personally, I have been seeing this go on since 2020. I kind of know it's the trend because before 2020, I'm gonna go way back before then. Let's say 2000. 1999, 98, because I'm older. So I lived through these decades. I don't seen the good, bad, and ugly. Okay, back in 99, 2000, people's way of thinking, the things in life, the way life flowed was totally different from the way life flowed today since 2020. Matter of fact. So back in those times, everything was natural. It was a little more peace, but you still had little things go on off and on. But it's like everything was more natural, like food, music, sports, um, any type of entertainment, books, movies, TV shows. But if you want to talk about TV shows and movies, it was more natural if you go way back to my grandmother and grandfather's days. But I wasn't living then. But I'm just saying, like everything about life, every aspect and element of life was more natural. You know what I mean? And I miss the
Right.
days. I miss the days of when I was like 6, 7 years old, walking around the neighborhood, going to the store, buy candy, line laters, and popsicles. It was all
Right.
peace and quiet. You didn't have to worry about no crime. You didn't have to worry about nobody looking at you some type of way. You didn't have to worry about
Right.
all these elements of life that we go through today. We didn't have to worry about those back in
We were able to be kids and we were
right,
able to relax and we didn't have to worry, like you turn around every day nowadays and it's
right,
fear and scared. Oh, be scared and World War III and oh, the children to be kidnapped, Amber Alert. And
right.
yes, so we didn't have that when we were kids. I'm 45. I don't know about you, but
I'm
I'm 45 years old and I remember a very different life than what my kids have.
right. Well, I'm 47, so you can relate to what I'm saying. But those
Right,
those are the elements we experienced when we was younger. Now that we older, we see how life has transcend. Let me say it right, to a different dimension. Different characteristics and elements. Like I see a totally big difference, but I seen a broader difference since 2020. You know,
right,
my whole opinion about this whole thing is it seems like every time something major happens in this country, it always some type of trending thing that takes place socially. It happens
right.
all the time, like it never fails. It's something to that. But I I'm not gonna lie to you. Like honestly, I see it. Sometimes I don't say nothing. You know what I mean? Like you know how it is when you on the outside looking on the inside, and you're alone, and you basically watching and paying attention to everything around you, people you don't know, the workplace or whatever, and you watch how they interacting. You watch what's going on the news, what they saying, this and that, and blah blah blah, and you sit back, you like, okay, this what's going on, but I'm not gonna say nothing. Like, but better yet, sometimes it's better not to say nothing, but sometimes it's good to say something because some people not aware, but or better yet, some people not awoke to the progress, to what's transpiring. The picture that's being presented. So I'm gonna say this. I say about the next 10 years, I'm not a philosopher. I'm not a psychic, but I predict in the next 10 years, I feel like it's gonna be worse than it is right now. And
Um,
I feel bad. I feel terrible for saying this. I hate to say this. I hope it don't happen. I hope I'm wrong. But if it do, I don't know what my son gonna do or the next generation underneath him gonna do. I don't know what the next person in my family gonna do, like my little cousins that's growing up. I think about all those guys because they're the ones that gonna be around in the next 20, 30 years to see what actually going on out here and go through the things that will be going on out here in the next 20, 30 years because me and you, hopefully, but by the grace of God, we still be living. Then better yet, I don't know. We may not be.
healthy,
You know what I'm saying?
healthy, hopefully. Right?
Yeah, I be in
I
heaven,
hope so. I
but
worry about that too. I feel like, but it's different for kids. They grew up so fast compared to the way we did.
Right.
They grow up so fast. They have the information all at their fingertips. The internet's right there. We didn't have the internet until we were
Yeah.
like, coming into high school or later. And I remember thinking, what? Like, this is horrible. Like, I remember being shocked that the
Right.
internet was what it was when it started. So
Exactly.
imagine now, I don't even go searching now. But as a kid, I was curious. I remember watching that Faces of Death and all kinds of stuff like that, horrible things. And I'm like, I can't believe this on the internet. Well,
Yeah.
that was the tip of the iceberg, right? So our kids grew up with this. They grew up with, you know, PORN at their fingertips and stuff like
Right.
that. They grew up with this stuff. And
Right.
we had to work hard for that stuff. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It wasn't handed to us like on a smartphone like that. So it's a
Right.
different life for kids these days. So I think hopefully that has helped them use more percentage of the brain than we ever used. Hopefully, a disadvantage because they didn't have the nature time, the yard time, the neighborhood time, the friend time. You know what I mean? And that's something that
Right.
changed from 2020 big time is that kids don't go hang out with other kids. Kids don't have sleepover parties or birthday parties like they used to. You drive by and it says happy birthday on the lawn.
Right.
You know, nobody
I,
really has a party. It's
I don't
just
mean
strange now.
I don't mean to interrupt, but I actually did a video on that.
I
It,
believe it. I believe we're on the same level, dude. I see
right.
it all
Right.
the time. I'm like, this guy and I
Right.
are like on weird parallel levels.
Right.
Like you even did some manifestation videos. That's where I started. I
Right.
started on YouTube doing manifestation, and then I was like, well, I don't know. I evolved, and I like your manipulation videos. A lot of your stuff, it's stellar. So I hope everybody watching on my end goes and checks out your stuff because it's
Right.
it's just great.
I,
And
I need people for my channel to come check out yours too because you
I
know
hope so.
it's a lot of information out here that people needs to listen to, understand. Because like a lot of things we talk about and some other people talk about is information people will never talk about at all.
Right.
Because when I do my keyword research, I notice a lot of times that a lot of my information that I put in on my videos, it is very rarely talked about. Maybe 20 to 30% is the rate. I am so serious. It is rarely talked about. So what we doing is a huge favor to society. You know what I mean?
No, I
To
agree.
our views. Yeah,
I
we do
agree.
for real. We is. We really is. Because
I agree.
like that's the problem with our time, our generation, our people. Now it's like they are being misinformed. I noticed that there's a lot of misinformation being presented out here ever since 2020. Also, you know,
Yes.
it's more live.
Misinformation and disinformation. And that was a big Edward Snowden thing that he put out there. Misinformation, disinformation. And that's all that we're buried in right now. And it takes a real smart person, you know what I mean, to sift through and understand what you keep and what you toss. And so, I mean, that's another thing for our children, the children in this age that like, are they going to have the know-how and the wherewithal to sort it out properly? Like,
Right,
I worry for my son all the time. He's on TikTok like 24/7.
right,
And half that's bullshit, right? Like, and
exactly.
he just looks at me like I'm crazy. And I'm like, yeah, dude, you're like, you really gotta really check up on these people.
You really because like they say TikTok tell a lot of truth, but people have to realize TikTok presents a ton of lies too.
Yes.
Like really, it go both ways. Like, but that's why I don't understand why people was going nuts over the fact that TikTok was going to be taken down. I don't understand because like you have to realize every social media platform consists of lies and truth,
Yes.
both combined together. There's no complete truth nowhere. That don't exist anymore.
Controlled opposition is a big deal. And I talk about that a lot on my channel about how I'll say when I have my feelings about certain people, certain channels, but there's no reason for certain people to get promoted heavily if they're not controlled opposition. Because if I sit around and talk about X, Y, and Z and I get nothing and suppressed and no notifications to people, But this guy sits out there and says the same thing, but he gets hundreds of thousands of views. You know what I mean? Like, you got to kind of just think about it. And I'm not being egotistical, like I should just be, number one. But
Right.
if we're talking about the same thing, we should get kind of the same realm of push. But that's not how the algorithm works. And you really got to keep that in mind when you're watching these big channels that are talking about fringe things. It's probably not real, So I just feel like they'll hook you with what they want you to get in there, and then they fill your head with lies. And
Right.
then you run around and spread it on your Facebook or whatever you do. And like that's how they get around it. It's like a government thing, in my opinion. I probably shouldn't even talk like that, but I just feel like it's controlled. They know what we're doing. What are we all doing in our spare time? We're scrolling, we're listening to videos, we're watching this and that. We're not reading books in the library. We're not playing till the street lights come on.
Right.
Kids aren't doing that anymore. So they're controlling and shaping their society like a lump of clay. And here we are as parents, like we're allowing it to happen because what are we going to do? What are we really going to do? Unplug it? Oh yeah, and like try unplugging your kids' devices, see what happens. Who's up for that fight? Who's up for it? I've done it. It doesn't work out in my favor. They don't learn anything. He'll run away from home. My son ran away from home once because I took his phone away. And he literally lived in the woods till I gave it back. So that's these kids today. They don't care.
Yeah. And those electronics is very powerful.
Yes.
The laptops, the iPhones, any type of phone, it's very powerful.
When I was a kid, all we had was TV, right? So all we had was the television. And I remember several times being a child, and this is probably way out there, but maybe this happened to you, maybe this happened to others. So I'm gonna put it out there. But I remember watching TV sometimes and getting a weird headache and feeling like, oh, something's wrong, doesn't feel right. Now, when I look back at that, I feel like that was brain programming at its baby level.
Right.
And now they have it
That's exactly
unlocked with the phone. You know what I mean? They know what they're doing now. They experimented on us.
Right. And then I seen little babies with phones, like 5, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, and
diapers. They in diapers playing with the phone, and they know how to use it.
Oh yeah, it's crazy, right?
It's so crazy. And I don't like to judge any parent because my parents put me right in front of the TV. That was the babysitter when I was a kid.
Yeah.
They didn't care. And for me, I was like, oh, it's great. I love TV. Like as a kid, it was amazing to us. But now, you see it in restaurants. You see it everywhere you go. You don't teach a child how to behave in a restaurant. You give them a phone.
Right. That's not good. Like to program to possess a phone like that. It's not good.
What is it but a pacifier? It's a pacifier.
Well, basically, yeah. Basically correct.
It is.
Because personally, we didn't have phones when we were babies, when we was kids. Like the first cell phone, I think it came out around 99, 2000, if I'm not mistaken. But it was like big, like almost like a house phone, like type of thing. And then
you got back to that size. Yeah. It seems like, but the Nokia and the flip phone. I remember the Nokia. Nokia wouldn't die.
I had one of those.
Me too. I love my Nokia.
Yeah, and that was like around 99. I had my first cell phone.
Yep.
I didn't keep it long. I kept it for maybe a year, and then
I think the first time, I had a Nokia and I didn't pay a real bill, but my first real bill was in 2000.
Right.
Or 2001 or something like that. And I had a real bill. I didn't pay a phone bill. It was weird.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a home phone. I don't know. And then I do remember they had the caller ID on the home phone. Well, the cell phone, you don't have to worry about that. You got all the caller ID and you didn't have the spam calls, so you didn't need that stuff. Well, now the spam has caught up to the cell phone. So what's next?
Right.
The Neuralink it in?
Oh no, we have to see a couple more years.
I've been telling people for a long time, probably 5 years. They all say, "Oh, the
Yeah,
mark of the beast is coming. The mark of the beast." I'm like, "What do you think this is? Stuck
right.
to your hand, isn't it? You buy and sell with it, don't you?"
Basically,
That's the mark of the beast, baby. Like it's just only going to get smaller and more ingrained in us.
right.
Who's going to give it up?
You know, like society designed this situation to be this way, where we have to, people use cell phones as for like everyday tactics, like different, tasks they have to do. Like people lives is in these phones.
Yep,
You,
mine is. I'll
yeah,
admit it.
yeah, your social security number, your real name, whole name, date of birth, age, all that stuff is like programming into that phone. People don't know
Yep.
that it is everything
All
about
my employees, I contact all my employees through text,
yeah.
group text. I never use email, but always texting, Facebook,
Mhm.
Instagram,
Right.
YouTube. It's all on my phone. If I lost my phone, oh my gosh, I'd be paralyzed until I get a new one and
Yeah,
and
me too.
upload it from the cloud. But
Me
think
too.
about that. Everything's in the cloud.
Hey,
Who else has information?
I'm the same way. I'm the exact same way. I
We're
don't know
all
how
connected to the cloud.
I probably fell out to the concrete.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, I'd be in trouble. I'd be paralyzed. Like I couldn't do nothing. The only and I okay, Apple CarPlay.
yeah,
I'm stuck on Apple CarPlay. I get in my car and it doesn't work. I'm like, I can't even. I have to put on the radio and I don't even know how.
right. Because people don't tune in to FM radio stations no more or AM. And, people don't do that no more. They use Pandora,
Yeah.
YouTube Music Studio, and so forth. Like there's a ton of music apps out there. People use Apple Music and so forth. So
Spotify. Yeah, that's a
uh,
big one.
yeah, people don't listen to radio anymore.
Yeah.
Those days are over. But I'm actually surprised that it's still radio stations out there that still exist to this day. Like
I'm shocked too. I'm shocked too, but people use them. And I know because for my business, we run a restaurant and I know that we advertise on the radio. And I have customers come in all the time and they say, I heard about you on the radio. And I'm
right,
always like, what? Like, you did? But it does happen. And even
yeah,
TV. I thought nobody watched TV because I haven't watched TV in decades, right? So
right,
I always thought people were on YouTube or on Netflix or whatever that like I do. But we
right,
put out a commercial on TV last year and we
right,
have people all the time coming in there like, I saw you on TV. And I'm like, wow. Now I'm gonna admit to you, it's an older generation doing the radio and TV.
yeah.
It really is.
It's
So
time.
that'll eventually die out.
It will. It won't be no more TV probably in the next 10, 20 years for real.
That's what I feel like too.
Yeah. Maybe 2, 3 years. You'll be surprised.
It'll be
But
like old antique you pull out.
yeah, but CBS, NBC, ABC, those major corporations, they'll never die out.
Right, right.
I
But
don't believe it.
they've moved to YouTube.
Right,
I see them all the time. Like I used to go through this thing where I'm like, I'm not watching any news. I'm blocking it all out.
right,
Well, you can't because you go pump gas and it pops on, and you go on YouTube and it pops up. And I'm like, I
yep,
don't care about this. And like, no matter what you do, it's gonna pop back up. So, I was like, okay, whatever. I guess all these news stations have moved to YouTube. They're
eh,
even on Facebook. You can't get around it.
yeah.
So you're
ESPN,
right. You're right. They'll morph and they'll change and they will still stay on top. They
right.
got the money. They got the money to do it.
Oh yeah, they are billionaires.
Oh yeah.
Billionaires and trillionaires that have 10 times more money. They can do anything they want in this whole world. So yeah, they can pretty much be on anybody's platform. I've seen a couple platforms on Facebook actually recently. You know,
Yep.
who else? Instagram too. Matter of fact,
Wow.
ESPN is a major player in that.
Yep.
The sports channel.
And ESPN, Disney, and Hulu are all connected,
Yep.
or they wouldn't do that bundle.
Right. Right.
So yeah, it's really interesting. Sports children and live TV. Kind of a monopoly over there. And then YouTube TV is kind of trying to take them on because you can get all the sports on YouTube.
Right. Right. It's
I
gonna
like
get
it.
one, like you said. It's gonna get one.
I just bought a little TV box. It's called the VC, like V and then SEE
Right.
box. My friend's selling them, and they're like, this is not a plug or anything, but it's like a TV box. You paid $300 for it, and
Wow.
then you never have to pay for any other TV again. Like it just
Right.
kind of steals it from somewhere. I
Right.
mean, I'm busted talking about it now, but it's pretty cool. I can get all the MLB games, all the NFL games, all the pay-per-view stuff, live
Right.
TV. I can get movies, everything, Netflix, YouTube. So I'm like, ooh, the more of this, the better.
And it's a
Shake it
one-time
up.
thing. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's a one-time thing. I'll send you a link. It's
wow.
crazy. Like the hard part is there's a lot of Chinese fakes. I'll send you his link because I was like, this is amazing. I might get one for the business too because 1 month I've already saved money.
Right.
1 month
Right.
because baseball season just started. You know what I mean? So it's crazy. Like I was like, I wish I would have got this 6 months ago. I love it.
Yeah.
But there's going to become more and more technology like that to sneak around, and that's how this stuff works. You remember Pirate Ship?
Yes, indeed.
Like Pirate Ship, we used to watch everything for free. I remember I miss those days. I used to say that all the time. I miss those days. I could just go get whatever I wanted.
Right.
Then they busted it, and I don't know what happened, but now you can't do that no more. Now you got to pay for 9 different streaming apps, and you're paying more than you would have for cable. The cable's
Right.
like $350 a month, so it's not affordable. It's crazy, and
Mm.
that's another thing about since 2020. Your groceries are up, the TV and the streaming is all up.
Right.
Everything costs more. All the money, like where are we getting all this money? And they've been saying, "Oh, the economy is just going to crash." But it hasn't yet. So what is going on? Is everybody just living on a credit card? I don't understand what's going on. But I'm
Yeah.
rolling with it. As a
It's
business
possible.
owner, I'm rolling with it.
Mm-hmm. But that's something I was talking about on my channel too, about the prices on food and gas prices. Like it took a whole toll ever since 2020.
Oh
I'm,
yeah.
I'm talking about. I don't mean to sound petty, but a whole dozen carton eggs, it's like $8 now. And
Yes.
it was, and there was a time when it was just like $3.99. Almost
Right.
anywhere you can get for about $3.99. Now it's cost like $8.99. And I found that to be kind of funny because eggs, we talking about eggs.
Right.
Right. And then as far as meat goes, like meat, like chicken, is like the cheapest meat on the market now. But it's a whole catch-22 to that. But I'm not gonna talk about it because I ain't gonna get to the chicken part because it's something else to that. But
I
that,
agree.
but chicken is the cheapest market. Then you have like pork chops. You have pork chops. Then you have ham ground beef. Then you have your chuck ground beef. You have two different types of ground beef. The chuck ground beef and the natural 100% ground beef. But my understanding is the chuck natural. I mean, not natural, but the chuck ground beef is bad for you. From my
Right.
understanding, that's why I do my best not to eat it. That says bad for your health. That says bad for your heart. It's bad for your blood circulation and all of that.
Is it the fat content? Is that
Yeah,
what the part?
yeah,
Probably plus additives. But
yeah.
I haven't eaten meat. I'll be honest with you. I haven't eaten meat in 8 years. I gave up meat after my second child, and I just cannot go back. It's not like I don't know. I don't feel like I'm making a difference. Like someone said that to me in a comment, but I really just for me it's like I love animals. I'm just an animal person, and it started as if I don't have to kill anything to eat, that would be great.
Right.
Because I don't want to kill it myself. And I grew up in a hunting family. I grew up in the woods, and we hunted deer all the time. And so I'm not like against hunting, but I feel like if you can't go kill it yourself, should you really be doing it? And is it even healthy for you? You know what I mean? Because you
Yeah.
don't know what's happening. What's happening here and there. Like we don't know what's going on. And then, okay,
Right.
animals, they're pumping them with antibiotics and all this stuff to keep them somewhat healthy. Like, well, why do you got to do that, right? Because they're not healthy animals. So should we really be eating it? Should we really be,
That's a
you
good
know,
point.
exploding the birth rate of cows so that we can all eat cow? Like, and I started really small. I started like, I'll get off my soapbox in a second, but I started with the 7-day fast. I was like, let me go 7 days without meat. And if I don't feel like I'm starving to death, I'll go 30. And
Right.
after 7 days, I felt great. I said, you know what? I feel great. My digestive system's working, actually really well. I haven't been sick all week. I feel great. So I was like, let me try the 30. So I went 30 days and I really felt like, yeah, I've had plenty of food. I feel healthier. I feel good. And I said, you know what? I'm not going back. And I did slip one time because I started working. It's the cheesesteak restaurant that I run now. And I said, I got to try this product, right? I didn't want to sell it without trying it. So I said, I'm going to try one. So I split one with a coworker. I said, yeah, that was really good, but I don't ever needed to eat it again. And I haven't since. And I don't judge anybody that eats meat. That's your business. That's your problem. But I feel like me overall, the changes that I noticed was number one, felt less aggressive as a
Right.
person. I had less road rage. I had less anger towards the world. So I noticed that and I said, wow, that's amazing. And then from there, it was like health things. I felt like my digestive system just worked better. I felt like weight didn't stick on me the same way. Like I just felt like healthier overall. So for me, it was a good decision. It's not for everybody. I'm not even pushing it, but
Right.
it also shrunk my grocery bill because if you try to buy good meats that are healthy for you,
Right.
it's in your pocket real quick. And I mean, same with eggs. I noticed, well, it was during 2020, they had some egg issue too before in the past. And I remember laughing, being like, well, I've always bought the $8 eggs, so it doesn't matter. Like, they're still
Right.
$8. So
Right.
I never noticed that change. And nowadays, like, I buy so few eggs that, you know what I mean? It just doesn't matter. And like recently in my last video I just posted, I talked about, oh, well, I woke up that morning and I wanted eggs, but I woke up and I turned on YouTube and they're talking about chicken jabs, like putting the jabs in the chickens
Oh,
for the bird flu. And I'm like, okay, cool, but yeah, I don't want to eat that. So when I
yeah.
went to the store, I bought duck eggs because there's more than one way to skin a cat, and I'll get my eggs if I want them. You know what I mean? So I mean, I'll raise ducks or I'll raise chickens if I have to, but that's kind of a pain in the ass, like
Right.
to do
Right.
that. But there's plenty of farmers out there that have them. They love them as pets. They love them as, birds that they eat or whatever, and they'll sell you them eggs cheap. So my advice to anybody worried about grocery bill with eggs and stuff, find your farmers. Find your farmers.
Right.
That's the important thing.
All
You know,
natural.
they're treating them good. They're having a happy life. There's more good karma in those eggs anyway. So why go to the grocery store and pay an overpriced amount for some chicken that suffered?
Facts.
Just doesn't make sense.
It don't. It don't. It's happening out here everywhere you turn, everywhere you go. And my understanding is they're shooting steroids in these chickens.
Well, it's funny, like Tyson owns predominantly all the chicken farming. And if they don't, they're trying to squash it. If you
Right.
pay attention to small farmers, you got to go real small farmer to a point like your farmers markets and stuff like that. And that's your ticket. That's where you really want to find your people. Look for signs on the side of the road in the country areas. Those people, you'll see them $5 a dozen or less, even $4 a dozen. It's because they have too many. Chickens lay eggs all day long and they just
Right.
leave it there. The chicken don't care about this egg. That's why I never understood vegans. Like, why are you mad about chicken eggs? That's gonna fall out of chicken's ass no matter what the hell's going on in the world.
All right.
It's just
Right.
flipping eggs like left and right, and they do not care about you picking it up. Okay, now if it's a fertilized egg, that's a different thing.
Right.
But you know what I mean? There takes some process to that. It's not like all these
Right.
eggs falling out the chicken are fertilized. So people need to get on with science and understand, how this stuff works. Picking up an egg off the ground, it doesn't make it. Yes, it's an animal product, but it's not harming a chicken. In fact, I would say it's good, but some chickens actually eat their own eggs. Chickens are actually very cannibalistic, and people don't realize that.
I heard of that before, actually.
They'll eat each other, and that's why in the big chicken farms, they break their beak off, so they
Mm,
don't eat each other.
yeah.
So where you wanna buy your eggs, Like like, I'm not trying to go buy my eggs at the grocery store anymore. I'm not trying
Yeah.
to.
I,
A little
I,
freaky, a little freaky,
me
but I'm
personally, like me personally, I don't have to go to that situation because I drive out here on the road, so I don't have to go to the certain grocery stores and purchase certain products, certain
right,
foods. I avoid it. I
smart.
avoid it. So,
Do you
yeah,
find people in your area selling eggs on the side of the road and stuff like that? Like signs, chicken eggs. Do you see that
right.
a lot?
Uh-uh. I don't.
No?
I don't.
Are you
Not
in
at
the
all.
city or are you in the country area?
Well, like when I go back home, I'm in the country, kind of like in the country area. Like
Okay.
a small city, country, small town. Yeah, so that's where I live when I'm not out here on the road. But when I'm out here on the road, I see it
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. You'll see it all
all city
through.
and country. But I have seen some weird things take place out here since I've been out here in this profession. Sometimes I talk about it, and sometimes I don't because if I talk about it, some people won't be able to take it.
It's
You know,
true.
so I just sometimes I only talk about some of these weird stuff I see out here. I
Oh
kind
yeah.
of keep it to myself.
I'm in Florida. I've seen it all too. I mean,
Yeah,
it just keeps getting bigger and weirder here. I don't understand the real estate. It's the weirdest real estate bubble you've ever seen. I'm sure it's the same in California because they almost try to mirror California and Florida.
yeah,
I don't know why. I grew up in Maine,
yeah. I kind
and
of that.
where I grew up in Maine, it was like we always dreamed about moving to Florida like it was some paradise. Well, now I'm
Right,
here trying to tell people it ain't. And it's not terrible. I like Florida, but it's just not what they put on a postcard, you
right.
know.
But
And
since I've been out here on the road, I've been to California, Florida, and I've seen that's a whole ton of similarities. But
yes.
the difference with California is more of land, more of land and desert, to be
Yep.
honest. And but the difference is, you go to Florida, the temperature is more hotter down there. You
It's
have
a
more
humid
green.
hot for sure.
You have a lot of palm trees down there. You have a ton of city and buildings. You have fields there, but you don't have desert there. So it,
Right.
it's something about Florida with the trees and that water. It makes it hot.
Yeah, it's very tropical, very humid. You can't walk outside without sweating buckets.
Right,
That's just how it is. And I honestly gotten used to it. So now when I leave Florida, it's like my skin's all dry. Like I just don't even know how to survive. I have to drink water like 24/7. It's like I need an IV. Like it doesn't make sense to me, but something about the humidity really it keeps your skin hydrated and
right,
everything. So when it's something you're used to, it's good. But if you're
right.
not used to it, oh yeah, it'll drive you crazy. When I first moved here, I remember thinking, how do these people walk around all soaked in sweat? Like they got armpit sweat going on. I'm like, how can they stand that? Because of course I grew up in Maine. Gosh, you only need deodorant up there in July. You know what I mean? Like it never gets hot really. So
Right.
I just thought it's so funny. I'm like, I'm trying every deodorant in the world. I'm like, nothing works in Florida. Nothing works. And it's true. It's just nothing really works down here because it's so moisture filled air. I went to California right actually as it was the beginning of 2020, February 2020, I think.
Right. Yeah.
Yes, it was February, beginning of February 2020. And I went over there and I went to San Diego with some girlfriends and we were all hanging out. I couldn't believe it. I was like, it's nice over here, but it was just when like the stuff was starting and people were starting to wear masks. And we were like, it was just the beginning of it. I remember we were saying, oh, it's going to be crazy because if it's starting, it's going to go everywhere. And it just was wild. It was wild. But we actually went to, it's in San Diego, but I don't know where it's called, what it's called. But they had the seals, a lot of seals on the beach. And
Yeah.
it was some special restaurant where you could watch the seals. And we were sitting there watching them, and then we had a couple drinks. We're like, let's go for a walk on the beach because we were like a block away.
Right.
I'm like, okay. And I'm with these girls. I love them to death, but they're super Christian and maybe a little, not super sheltered, but you know what I mean? A little more sheltered than me. I feel like I have a little more street sense. And we're walking down the beach, and, it was nice. But then I started looking around, and I'm looking at the people on the beach. And it wasn't your typical tourists on the beach, right? I'm like, these are all homeless, like junkies on the beach. Like, what are we doing? And I
Oh
said
yeah.
to my friends, I said, we
You will
gotta go.
you will see them out there on the West
Yeah,
Coast.
I said, we gotta go. This is not safe. And then they both looked around and they're like, you're right, you're right. And we just started backtracking real quick. But it was like Skid Row on the beach. And I've been told about that in California, but I never really thought it was like that. It was like that. Like the beaches aren't safe. Well, in
It,
Florida, it's a different story. You can
oh
go
yeah.
on the beach and leave your wallet right there. And depending on the beach, but like most people ain't gonna touch it. They're
Mhm.
like, yeah, we're all busy doing our own thing. You know what I mean? But California, I couldn't believe it. Well,
It's
then I
not the
start
same.
learning.
It's not the
Yeah.
same.
Well, then I started learning about the real estate. You
Right.
can't afford to live in a home in California, so the
No, you
beach
can't.
is like affordable living.
Impossible.
It's
Impossible.
wild.
Because the last time I was in San Diego, I dropped off a load. I went to the beach. I hung out there, got me a drink up from an outdoor sports bar. I got to kicking it out there with some of the guys out there by the beach, and I had a conversation. I had a conversation with it was some guy. I forgot his name, but he was a construction worker. Me and him was talking about an hour. He was telling me about the real estate out there, like how much rent costs out there, house mortgages, you name it, buying land, whatever. Like anything pertaining to real estate, it's very expensive. Matter of fact,
Right.
the cheapest apartment, the cheapest. I'm only say it like that. The most reasonable apartment in California is $4,000 a month. That means your income has to double that.
Triple
If,
here. You got to
yeah,
have triple to
yeah.
get it here.
If your income not doubling what the rent is, you in trouble. You're not gonna have a place to live.
That's wild.
I
And
would never.
down here, it's been creeping up like that. I would say if you want to rent like a 2 bedroom, I'm sorry, a 3 bedroom, two bath house
Hmm.
in Florida, and I'm in Gainesville. It's like a college town. It's north central.
Oh, okay.
Um,
I've been
if
there.
you want to rent, yeah, if you want to rent something here, like around that in a decent neighborhood, 2,000 is the lowest you're gonna pay. The lowest, and you need
Woo!
first, last, and security to get in. So you got to drop 6 grand to get in, and that ain't even counting your moving truck, and that ain't counting your hooking up your electrical and all that stuff. So you have to be affluent to even move.
Right, right.
Scary. The last time I moved, it set me back a year and a half
Yeah,
monetarily. And I was like, well, I'll sure not to do that again. But I did get lucky. I bought a house in 2020, right?
right.
It was December 2019, I believe. And I bought the house when it was like 2% interest rate. Well, my dumb ass bought it with my mother, right? My mother's a narcissist, and she wanted us to use her VA loan. So we did
Yeah.
that. You have to pay nothing to get in, and we got it at 2% rate. And then I said, "Well, mom, just put it in your name." You know what I mean? Well, then she met this man 2 years in and want to run off with him. I said, "Well,
Oh.
go," but she want to use her VA loan again. So we got to get out of this house. So I'm like, "Mom, really? I got 2 kids. This is stupid." Anyway, we ended up selling the house, but I dragged it out enough that we ended up making 100,000 on it. So we made some
Woo.
money, and she wasn't going to split it with me. I took her to court. Took my own mother to court. Like
Right.
that's what this day and age is all about. So I took her to court, and luckily I did, or I wouldn't be able to move. I'd have been homeless. So
Wee.
it's wild.
Yeah,
Florida's
that's
crazy.
wild. That's
And now
wild.
the rates are like 7, 8% if
Right.
you're lucky. if you got tip-top credit, and they're saying it's going down, but I hear nothing about these rates. All I hear is Trump and Doge and Trump and Doge, but I don't hear nothing about these interest rates no more.
I don't either. I don't either.
I hear the real estate's gonna go down and crash, but I haven't seen it.
I tell you what, if that happens, there's gonna be a lot of people in trouble because that real estate, it's many people out there is depending on that real estate.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know. And a lot of people bought in too late, so they're gonna be upside down.
Right.
It's not good. And if you bought in with a high rate like 7%, and then market crashes,
ooh-wee.
I'm nervous. I'm nervous for this society. Like, how are y'all
going? I'm scared too. Well, I'm kind of nervous about it because nobody want that to happen because the majority of society gonna be screwed if that happens.
Exactly.
Because I'm gonna say this: 85% of the economy depends on real estate. Actually,
yes. Yes.
Yeah, for real.
You know what's up.
Oh yeah.
And think about this too. A lot of people that rent, you're renting from someone that ain't paid that shit off. So what happens when they need to sell? Because they're screwed in money.
Oh yeah.
Then you on the street because you're a renter. And so it's just going to be this total economic downfall, in my opinion. It's going to be like a tumble. But then I always think to myself, well, the government will come up with some kind of bailout because they kind of do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as long as you're on the right side, you'll be fine, right?
Right.
But I don't know. It's scary. It's really scary.
It's very scary. Oh yes. See, you have to understand too. It's many people that own real estate companies. You know, you have people that make their money off real estate too. You know, many people became rich off of being involved with real estate. You know what I'm saying?
Especially in 2020.
Yeah. So like, yeah.
But then BlackRock, they talk about BlackRock buying it all up, but they never talk about BlackRock anymore.
No, they don't. I haven't heard anything at all.
Crickets. Where's BlackRock when you need them, right? I mean, I guess they're the big landlord. I hear nothing about them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's strange. It's funny how the narrative changes, you know, like on a dime like that. I've noticed that too. I always try to like think to myself, what's the agenda behind the narrative here?
Oh yeah,
who's investing in this narrative here? You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I really don't know what's going on. Like right now, okay, you notice like all the plane crashes. We've been having a lot of plane crashes.
I heard all about that too.
I don't know what's going on, but I wonder, like, you know, did our president invest in, you know, plane companies or something? Like, what is going on? Why all of a sudden are all these plane crashes? I'm sure they happen all the time, but like, why is it the forefront of the news?
It's been happening back to back at that. You know?
Just like remember all the trains derailing?
Yes.
The hell was that?
It's a whole movement. Like, you know, like the best way I can say it, the minority is trying to destroy the majority. That's the whole concept of that. The minority trying to destroy the majority.
Money.
Yeah. Catch
all
on,
about
man. Oh yeah. That's what it is. I'm talking in code, but yes, that's what it is. It's been going on for years like that. It just been kind of, it been kind of secret, kind of silent. You know, people know, but some people don't know. You know,
Right.
so it's like this seesaw where they won't, like, one side is trying to push down the other side, and they trying to stay on top.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because the people that's up there, they're not trying to crash down here.
Yeah.
I mean,
they won't.
Yeah, exactly.
They have fail safes built in for that. That they won't. And if you've reached a certain level in your life, you're not going back down.
Exactly.
And if you do, like, okay, you remember Obama times when people be like off in their whole family. Like that stuff was crazy. I remember seeing it on the news. Husband, wife, family. What? I couldn't. It was blowing my mind. How could this happen? Well, money will make that happen. Money will make
Right.
that happen. And maybe some of it was contrived. Who knows? But the dot coms and all that stuff that fell, they blew it up to make it look like it was something, and it was nothing. And so what's going to be real in the end? What's going to win in the end? Authenticity, believers of God, people that don't care about what the Joneses are doing. Those are the people that are going
Right.
to be winning in the end, in my opinion. Like, do you? Don't worry about anybody else. Do you?
Exactly.
You'll be all right. I really, truly, truly believe that. And it's just we've been built into a society of, oh, I gotta get on the TikTok shop and I've gotta have this car because so and so got it, and oh my Gucci this and that, and like it's just too much. Like
Yeah, it's too
we've
much.
reached a point.
You know something too? What I noticed about life since 2020, I noticed that people are followers. They have to be the same like the next person. No, you don't. You see, people have to realize you have to define yourself. You have to create your own wave. You know,
Okay,
create your
let
own way
let me
into
mention something on that. I'm sorry
yeah,
to interrupt, but Kodak Black.
facts.
How many people did their hair like that? How many people want to act like that? And then you see them on the street eating chicken like that.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I see a whole lot of, and it's a lot of my brothers out there.
I
They
see it here too.
they don't honor that. They don't respect that. You know what I mean? That was
It's
those.
sad.
Yeah, it's sad. Like, and then you have to realize the political Caucasian people, right? You know, some say it like that. The political Caucasian, right?
Right.
They look at that as a disgrace. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? They do look at that as disgrace because that's just like me going out there to pretend like I'm this CEO of a company when I'm not. And
Right.
but on the flip side, that guys from my city or neighborhood, they look at that like, man, you fake, man. Like, what you doing? Like, this is not you. You know what I mean? That's how they gonna look at me. Like I'm foolish because I'm pretending to be something that I am not. You know what I mean? That's why I made that video that I made when I spoke on it. But I know some people took it offensive, but I didn't mean it in a way that people think. I mean it because you have to realize you have more than two classes of people out here. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And people have to realize that um when it come down to like Caucasian culture, right? They made their own wave through history. You know what I'm saying? And like the majority, well, I'm gonna say the minority because they rule. The minority who rules over the Caucasian culture, like I said, they create the wave. So for a Caucasian guy to pretend like they black is like a slap in the face to them. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, they're like somebody black from my community who come over to the white culture pretending to be white. That's fake. You know what I mean? There's no other way to sum it up. That's why when I made that video, I specifically said, you know what I'm saying? You have to be yourself. You know what I mean? You have to create your own wave. You make your own way. Um, you have to stay in your culture, stay in within what you believe in. Don't jump jump away from how you was brought up, from
Right.
what you believe in, because that's like flip flopping. You can't do that. You can't jump. That's like
Well,
jumping from one
it's
religion
it's
to another
not
religion.
it's not like genuine. You know what I mean? And it's see through.
Exactly, exactly,
You can
exactly.
see through that. Like,
Yeah,
okay, I had dreadlocks for 3 years and I loved them, but in the end, I got rid of them because I felt like I can't really uphold this. Like, I couldn't get anybody to help me with the maintenance. I couldn't get this or that. Like, I get people that say they do it, but then nobody show up.
right.
You know what I mean? And I couldn't do it all myself. And then I could make an appointment, but then the appointment wouldn't be honored. You know what I mean? So I got frustrated with it and I just combed them out in the end. I cut them off and combed it out. So, it wasn't like I was trying to appropriate any culture. I grew up in a place predominantly white, and most of the people that were black were from um, Somalia. They were Somalian refugees, so it was completely different than Florida. So then when I moved to Florida, but up in Maine, a lot of white people had dreadlocks in the ski culture. Like they work in the ski industry and they'd have dreadlocks. So kind of grew up with that. Well, then moved to Florida and someone brought it up to me. They're like, you should do dreadlocks because your curl pattern or whatever. And I was like, oh, that'd be cool. And like I did it and I loved it. I really did love it for 3 years, but I didn't want to be appropriating or make people feel like I'm appropriating in that manner. I wasn't trying to do that.
Yeah.
And after I got rid of them, Kodak Black come on, right? And like at first nobody copied his hair.
Right.
But then you notice it's like people with like these 4 or 5 dreadlocks on their head.
Right.
And I'm like, is it really comfortable? Like I talk to people, is it really comfortable for you to wear your hair like that? Like,
No,
and
I'm
it's
not
not. And like they'd
I
have to go
will.
get their hair done all the time to get the wicks done.
Yeah.
And I get it. You want to be cool, but
Yeah.
being someone else isn't cool.
Exactly. That's my
Being
whole
yourself is cool.
Exactly. That's my
That's the
whole point.
difference.
That's
That's
my
the
whole
difference.
point.
And
Mhm.
people don't understand that. And then what happens to Kodak Black? Okay, he rises in fame. He went on tour. He came here, and I couldn't believe he came to Gainesville of all places. But he came here, and everybody was like, "Wow!" Well, then, I mean, a couple weeks later, there he is eating chicken on the street like a crazy person, and I felt bad for him. I'm like, "Where are all his friends? He needs a friend right now, not some asshole taking pictures with him." Like, and so, I mean, you're copying a person and you don't know what they're all about and you don't know what's going on and you think you're being cool, but are you really? Like,
Now they be
so to
followers.
be yourself is something that has fallen to the wayside and nobody wants to do it no more. They all want to
Right.
copy this TikToker, they want to copy this YouTuber. Even my youngest son, he wants to be Dream from YouTube. He thinks Dream is the greatest YouTuber. He just loves him, and like my oldest son is like, oh, Dream is cringe. So it's just funny, like they all want to be something they're not, and like what
Yeah.
about being yourself? But nobody promotes that.
Exactly. That's the whole thing because people don't understand. That's the only way people will respect you
Yes, yes,
as a person is unless you be yourself. If you pretending to be like somebody else, there's nobody on this planet Earth going to respect you. Absolutely not. You
exactly.
know
And
what I mean?
that's what it's true. Like the respect factor is
Yeah.
huge because
Right.
people are gonna be like, look at little mini Kodak Black over there, and I mean, no shade to Kodak. Like he's cool in my book, but
Yeah.
for everybody to go copying that hair, like it was just so funny to me. Like, what in the hell? It's not even that good. So
No.
it's like he had
No.
dreadlocks on wrong,
Right.
and people are like, let me copy that. I don't know. And now the poor guy's on the street laying there eating chicken and nobody's helping him.
They're
That's
not.
sad.
They're
That's
not.
sad to me.
They're not going to.
And I need, that's what I need is more people coming out saying just be you, do
Right.
you. Stop trying to be this person. Stop trying to be that person. Stop trying to be, all these people you think are cool because it's a small time of a period of time that they are cool. They rise to the top, they fall. You
Mhm.
watch them all fall. I don't know. I try to be transparent and I haven't put everything of my business out there on YouTube, but
Right.
I'll always be transparent. People want to talk about it. But you know what I mean? Like you've got to be yourself. And if you don't, you have no authenticity. You are not someone to look up to. Like
Facts.
why look up to someone who looks up to other people like that? Like, you know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense.
No.
And
No.
it's more beneficial in my opinion to spread the right energy that comes from the heart instead of being like, let me copycat, let me become this.
That's what you call being a follower. Followers are,
Exactly.
I'm gonna say it like this: followers are weak-minded people, meaning they have small minds. You can't have a
Right?
small mind in order to progress in this world. you have to broaden your mind. Like you have to broaden your thinking.
But there's no teaching for people to be strong. Like,
No, not
you go to a classroom, okay, you go to school nowadays. I believe in homeschool for my youngest, but my oldest went to public. And
right.
you go to the classroom, there's 30 kids in there, and you know what I mean? You want to keep up or fit in. And if you don't, I mean, you got 30 kids in that class picking on you, then you got 4,000 kids in the school picking on you. It's hard. It's hard for these kids, and I get it. But I was that kid in school. I remember I had a shirt and it said, "Why be normal?" And I was a little weirdo. And everybody's like, "She's weird," you know? But I was like, I don't care. I'm gonna be fucking weird and I don't care about you. And you know what I mean? Like, that's how I was. Well,
Yeah.
then I try to put it in my kids and they tell Mom, you're weird. Like, I'm like, so be it. So be it.
Oh
You need
man,
to be weird too. Be weird, forge the path. Don't follow it. Forge a path.
fact.
And they look at me like I'm crazy. Well, now my very youngest, he's on the spectrum. So he doesn't care. He's his own person. And I'm telling you what, people love him because he's so unique and he doesn't care about what other people think. But he still loves YouTubers. He still wants to be like certain YouTubers. So, I mean, no matter what you do, you can't get away from that. It's really strange. The emulation factor these days is huge. Like, I want to be like this person. I want to be like that person. I don't know how we get these kids out of that.
I don't know. I don't understand that, but I don't know where that. Matter of fact, I don't understand where that came from. But
I don't either.
I don't
I have
understand.
no idea.
But I mean, I'll be honest with you. When I was a kid, when I was a teenager, there was a time I really did want to be like somebody. You know, I always been a sports fanatic, like pro football, baseball, basketball. I used to want to be like Magic Johnson when I was a kid. When I was
Right,
like in the 90s, early 90s.
right,
I
right.
like I used to want to be like Magic Johnson. Then there was a time I used to want to be like Dominique Wilkins. Then there was a time I wanted to be like Dan Marino. I am so serious. When I was a kid.
Not the Dolphins.
Dan Marino. I used to, yeah. I was
Oh,
serious.
that's funny. That is
Yeah,
I was never like emulating sports people, but I'm trying to
yeah,
think back now. I remember I loved Cindy Crawford.
yeah. Right, 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 right. Oh yeah.
I don't know. Well, I
Yeah.
remember when I had my first child, a little crazy in the head, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna cut
Don't say don't say yeah.
that Rihanna cut. You remember that little short
Yeah.
cut she had
Oh yeah.
back in the
Oh yeah.
I love that haircut. Well, it looked awful on me. And then I'm like, well, I hate myself now. you know?
It's too late.
So it was always this game after that to grow my hair longer, longer, longer. And it
Yeah.
was just so funny, but it's like, you know, it looks good on Rihanna, don't mean it's gonna look just
Right.
because
Right.
Cindy Crawford can pull all this off doesn't mean I can, right? Just
Right.
because Magic Johnson can hit all those baskets don't mean you're gonna hit them the same way too. You know what I mean? Which, by the way, I don't know how that man's still alive, but it's good for him. That's wild.
Yeah. I still trying
That's another combo.
right now. And how many years it been? It been what? Since 91? And we in
It's insane.
2025.
He defies logic.
Yeah. Cause look, it's
Defies logic.
1991 to what? 10, 20. It been 30 years. And this man's
Yep.
still alive. Ain't no way. Ain't no way in the world.
It's not real, man. That's why I think we're in a simulation. I
Nah,
swear we're in a
that's not real. It's fake.
It can't be. It can't be. There's no
Yeah.
possible way. I mean, in the 90s, they were all like, "Hey, put condoms on your glasses and run around with condoms," and it was all like the
Yeah.
epidemic, and like we're like we fell into it. We were kids. We didn't know what was going on. We're like,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Beginning days of hip hop were coming in. You had what was it, Bill Bellamy on MTV, and then you had
Yep.
TLC was big into that. I remember they would tape condoms to their jeans and stuff. Like we would do that in school, and we're like, we all wanted to be TLC in school, and so we dance around, do the dances to TLC. But like, there was no HIV in my school. Like, you know what I mean? There
Woo!
wasn't people in my school that had that. I didn't know anybody in real life that had that. I just knew Magic Johnson. Now, I grew up in the woods, and I didn't move to Florida.
It was one person
I
in my
didn't move to Florida until I was like much older.
right.
But when I moved out here, even I don't meet it a lot, even these days.
Yeah.
Just kind of funny to me. I always thought that was fear propaganda.
No, it was real.
Do you
Obviously.
think it was real? Or do you think it was to suppress the population because they knew what was going to happen today was going to happen? Like, we wouldn't have enough road infrastructure, wasn't going to meet the people infrastructure.
Yeah.
That's what
Fresh. It was all a strategy.
I feel like it.
Yeah, it was a
I
strategy.
don't.
Yeah.
And Magic Johnson's like, I'll take that role.
Right. And
Did he
probably
get paid for that?
paid good for it too.
That's what I wonder. I mean,
Because
there
check
has to be
this out.
something to
Yeah.
it.
Hey, let me interrupt, but check this out. This man has millions of dollars. So how he was able to accumulate all that money? And he been retired
Right.
from basketball. Think about this. He been retired from basketball since the early 90s.
Yes.
30 years later, and the only thing he was involved in was with the LA Dodgers. The
And he
baseball.
didn't do a lot of endorsements either.
No, no.
He
No,
wasn't Mr. Nike or anything like that either. And
no.
that's where they make most of their money.
Yeah, so think of this. Where the money came from that he has now.
Big pharma.
Right. Facts.
How else
Got
do
paid,
you push all
paid,
them drugs? I
got,
don't know.
he got paid off.
That's what I feel like
Yeah.
because the man's still walking around healthy. And he also, I remember back in the day, they talked about him using some Eastern medicine practices.
Oh yeah, I heard about that too.
Well, nowadays, if you talk about that, they'll suppress your channel and you know what I mean? They'll come delete you.
Right.
Uh, there was a huge influx of natural medicine doctors that got, wiped off the planet, especially in Florida. There was a lot of them around the 2019, 2021 area.
Right.
And I wonder if that was, by design. But it's just funny to me. Like he says, oh, I went and used these Eastern medicine practices, but they're not like telling you how to do it yourself.
Exactly. They don't want you to know. They don't want
He's
no.
not he's not telling you how. He's not saying this is what I did. Nobody's even asking him.
I know. I find that to be funny. I find that to
It's
be
so funny. I
yeah.
mean, is there anybody else like him that you can think of?
Nobody.
Me either.
Nobody.
So I feel like that was all to trick us because he was a very famous basketball player, very influential.
Yeah.
And then, who came out after that saying, I am not a role model?
Yeah, that's
Maybe he knew more than we do, right?
right. Obviously, he does.
Because I find that odd that he said that really adamantly. Like maybe they came up to him and asked him to do the same. I don't know. Here's the thing:
I,
is if he said something against it, he'd be
mhm.
done.
Right.
So
Right. He'd have been gone about 20 years ago if it wasn't for those Eastern medicines like you was talking about.
yes, but
Fact.
nowadays you talk about any kind of alternative medicine, squash your channel.
Facts.
It doesn't work. It's not worth
Nope.
doing. Don't talk about it.
Nope.
You want to know about that? You go to the website, right? You got to pull them off the platform. You can't even do it on your channel. It's not worth it. And I think that's messed up because there's probably a lot of validity to a lot of it. And I actually worked in a career that was touching on some of that. And so I'd love to talk more about that stuff on my channel, but it's not worth it.
Not worth it. Not worth
But I do have Rosequartz728.com, which I do nothing with at this point. Maybe someday I'll go farther with that. So,
right.
you know,
You would.
I work full time. I don't have time for all that. But the thing is like if you talk about certain things on certain platforms, you are squashed.
Right. Suppress.
In my opinion, Magic Johnson should have a channel and a website and tell everybody his secrets.
Right. But he don't do it. He don't do it.
Why, right? I
Yeah.
mean, we're not stupid. It's about what you don't say too, not just
Right.
what you say.
Yeah, that gives me question marks in my head. But
Gives me chills.
right. And it lets you know right there that it's bigger than you think.
It
The
totally is. And
whole
it's all about cha-ching. So
right. Right.
strange stuff in this world. It's really strange stuff in this world. And I don't know quite who's in charge because they want to put these little puppets up in front of us. But that doesn't mean that's exactly, like, for example, I'm not going to say names, but the prior president, the whole time they were like, "Oh, Obama's running it," and like he's the deep state running it. And
Right.
okay, so now what? So what you're telling me that's out? Like, like
Got to be.
telling me
No,
Trump's not a puppet?
yeah, but there are puppets for real. It's somebody else behind the scenes, but they're not
Exactly.
going to tell you that.
Exactly.
Yeah, they don't want you to know that. I
No,
don't know. Nobody knows it.
and then they dropped the Epstein list. Did you see the Epstein list? Did you look it
Nope.
up?
No, I haven't. I need
Don't
to.
even put it in your algorithm. Don't even try because it's a waste of time. They dropped it, and so the whole thing's listed sideways. It's
Uh-huh.
handwriting. It's a
Yeah.
handwritten airport log that you can't read.
Right.
You can find a name in it. I'm shocked, and obviously every internet person has had a chance to see it. So if it was there, you'd know. So they dragged this out for years and years and years. What, before 2020?
Right.
Actually, I thought 2020, the whole thing that happened in that area was to suppress the movement of people, to track certain people that were hard to track. And that was my theory because it seemed like they were looking for someone. A lot of times I'd be driving because I traveled a lot during 2020. I
Right.
traveled. Airbnbs was 50% off. Restaurants weren't full. I wasn't scared of nothing. I already had it. So I was like, let me go. And I'm telling you what, every time I'd run on the highway, there'd be roadblocks. There'd be stops. There'd be scans of the license plates and stuff. And I said, they're looking for someone. Seems like they're looking for someone.
Yeah.
Not right. And so anyway, I don't know if it was him or whoever, but that Epstein list finally comes out now, what, 2025, 5, 6 years later, and you can't read it.
Wow.
And it just reminds me of we go to the moon, right? And then now, all the footage and all the information about the moon landing is gone. Like they deleted it all. Hello?
It's something to that. It's something to that. I don't understand it, but it's a catch-22.
It's a joke.
More.
This is a joke. And then Elon Musk has said several times that we're in a simulation. This is a man who's on track to be a trillionaire, the first trillionaire. He's telling us point blank, you're in a
Yeah.
simulation. So we're probably 10 years behind when the simulation actually started.
Mm.
Because they don't tell you nothing until it's too late.
Right.
Here we are.
I want to look into that a little more because I've been hearing people talk about that a lot.
Which part?
The fact that we are living in a simulator. Like, I need to look into that more.
Look into it. So they talk a lot about CERN too. So CERN is like you know about CERN?
I don't.
It's a particle simulator. Like they basically take particles and the atoms and stuff, and they can simulate and they can do things to manipulate these things. Look up CERN. It's CERN. But there's also one in the United States. So CERN isn't like in Switzerland or something. It's, a neutral place. And I believe that there's this thing called the NPC machine. I've made that word up, but like I believe that a lot of these people in our existence are not real. Okay? Like I feel like I'm real. I feel like you're real. You're a deep thinker. But if people don't think deep, if they don't question their reality, if they don't understand that things are freaking weird, they're probably an NPC. And that's a non-player character, right? And to me, that's a zombie. That's a computerized zombie, two-dimensional zombie. And this can happen in your family, in your neighborhood, in your workplace, everywhere. And I noticed during 2020, there's a lot less people applying for jobs and all. Okay, it's because of unemployment, but I think they shut down the machine. Well, now since 2020, is over, and now it just happened when Trump got in office. All of a sudden, I have applicants coming left and right, and I'm like, no. I said the NPC machine must be fired up again because they're all back looking for jobs like they used to be. Well, I know they cut off the unemployment, but there's more to it than that. There's more to it. I meet people sometimes and I try to say things or I talk to them. I try to talk to people and sometimes you get that blank stare, huh? And to me, those are NPCs. They're just this non-player character. They're like a filler. Like if you ever played the old RPG games like World of Warcraft or anything like that, if you played any of these old games back then, like you know what I mean? You go up and you're like, hey, shopkeeper, what you got? Like they have this randomized response they give you.
Right.
That's an NPC to me. Like, oh yes, I'm the shopkeeper. I sell this or I have a room for rent. And real people are like that too. But here I am, like, I want to talk about real issues. I want to talk about Magic Johnson, and they're like, no, no mas, and they don't want to talk about it. That's someone I suspect is being a two-dimensional NPC.
Right.
And I think that there's more to it than we know because CERN is a well-known spot. It's a well-known operation. But they have them in smaller areas that nobody talks about. And the United States have one. I forget what it's called. I'd have to look it up. But the United States has its own. So how do we know they're not just churning out, like what do you call it? Like hologram people or something? Like how do I know? Are we trying to keep up with these Joneses that aren't even there?
Yeah, they basically hiding a whole lot of stuff from us.
You know it.
Well, there's many things that is really top secret, and they've been keeping it in the files. They're not presenting it to the public because a lot of things, if they bring it to the public, they really feel like the public going to panic.
Yes.
Just like the alien thing. I believe in aliens.
See, I don't.
I do. I do.
I don't. We should talk about that on our next live.
Right. We ain't gonna talk. But what I'm saying is, I'm just giving you an example.
I've never seen one.
Shoot. But I'm just giving you an example of the things that, like, they're not going to tell you, like things they not talk about in the public eye.
I think aliens are from the future.
Yeah, because they know the average person going to panic.
Right.
Yeah, for real. I got friends in certain places, like they told me certain stuff, and I'm like, oh my God.
Here's the thing: is that you do hear things from other people, but I really believe in what I've experienced firsthand, and that's my reality. And your reality is your reality, right? We each have our own, and if they overlap, it might be true.
Right.
But if it doesn't,
something faulty.
Yeah, why? Right? So, like,
Right.
okay, one example I want to bring up. I don't want to get too much in the alien thing because I like that topic for next time. But the drone thing. Have you seen a lot of
Oh,
this online? So my baby daddy, he used to do drones. That was his, his livelihood. He
right.
taught the government, our government, how to fly drones. He taught other governments, including India and all kinds of places, how to use drones. And he was a government contractor. He taught them how to do this. He worked on a special contract. I shouldn't even talk about this. A special contract with Bill Gates, kind of like about how to track mosquitoes
Right.
with drones, and map ponds and puddles and shit, what the mosquitoes were doing. And drones can do a lot more than people think. They could be bug size, they could be bird size, they could be plane size.
Exactly.
People don't understand that. They just think, oh, it's a little drone. But no, there's a lot more to it than that. And
Exactly.
so people are all like, oh, I'm seeing 40 drones fly over my house. And like people are pumping on YouTube like all this stuff. And it was a thing for a minute. It's kind of quieted down. But why? Why were they
Oh,
wanting that hyperactive shit? And then Trump said before
okay.
he was elected, when I'm elected, I'm going to tell people what it's all about. And has he said nothing? No.
Mm.
There's a reason. There's a
Right.
reason. Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's
Yeah.
aliens. And I don't think it's government or anything like that. I just think that people blowing shit out of proportion, really.
Yeah. That's possible. Yeah. I look
Drones
at
been around for decades. It's
right.
nothing new. There's no real laws in the low skies. In the high skies, when you fly in planes, there's some FAA. But
Right.
there's a threshold of a level. And you can fly a drone. I can fly a drone over your house and watch what you do in your backyard, and there's nothing you can do about it. You could
Oh.
be like,
Oh.
you could
There's
be
no.
like, hey, Rose
Mhm.
Quartz flying a drone over me, and she's talking about it on her YouTube. And there's nothing you can do about it. Like, there's no law. You have no expectation of privacy when you walk outside.
Right. Facts.
Kind of weird.
Yeah. Privacy is over with. Them days of privacy is over with.
Gone. That's why I might as well be transparent on YouTube.
Right.
That's what I feel like. They're watching me through the phone anyway.
Exactly. They
Send me
watching
a
you
check.
right. They, they watching us right now. They're watching us for outer space. That technology in space that can see everybody and everything that everybody's doing.
Yes. And if people think that we know the best technology that we have, they're crazy. They
Right.
give us the old technology bullshit they don't need.
Right.
The government has 20 years on you, 20 years back from the cell phone you have today.
Right.
So to expect that you have the best technology is psychotic,
I,
delusional.
yeah. Basically, yeah.
Everything we know is old news. They know what we're doing in the future, SIPPI King. They know
Yeah.
what we're doing tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
They know what we're going to talk about on our next live
That's AI, artificial intelligence.
because we are AI. We
Yeah.
agreed to it when we put the app on our phone.
Yeah.
And I also, do you ever notice that? Being a YouTuber, I'm just curious if you ever noticed this. But when you set up your settings,
Uh
there's
huh.
a setting for AI.
Right.
Do you allow them to use you for AI?
No.
I didn't at first. And then
Mm.
I thought about it and I said, maybe I should because it's suppressing me. But then I changed my mind. I went back and I changed it out. But there's
Right.
several companies. There's an Elon Musk company. There's a Bill Gates company. There's a Facebook company. There's all these companies using AI, taking our personal likeness and they will copy it. And I experienced that on TikTok. I was on TikTok. I had, this was the beginning days of TikTok when the
Right.
creator fund just started. And I used to do this dumb shit. And I'd be like, I'd wear like this little tank top and I'd have a drink and I'd be like dancing, and I have music on
Yeah.
because they didn't copyright you back then. And so I'd be like dancing to like some reggae music or something. And I'm like, hey guys, what you doing tonight? Hey, what you doing? And like literally, I mean, I gained like 7,000 followers real quick, and I was making money. Like my money was
Right.
stacking, but you have to make a certain amount to take it out,
Right.
right? So I was making money, and then all of a sudden, shit hit the fan, and they banned me, and they wouldn't allow me to take my money out. Well, then I had fans, because so I always had an Instagram before that, and I
Right.
had fans send me links to people on TikTok that were me. They were me, and they were like a channel, and it was me. And I'm like, how is this possible? Well, I contacted a lawyer. But guess what? When you click on and you take that app for TikTok and you want to be a creator on TikTok, you agree to let them take advantage of you in that way. So their AI copied my shit and took
Yeah.
it. And those people that were me, they weren't me. It was like a computer copy of me. And they had like 500,000 followers and shit like that. And they were making tons of money.
Oh yeah, that was stealing.
That's
That was
how
stealing
TikTok
your.
survives.
Yeah, that was stealing. That was stealing your image.
Yep. And they can take that image and manipulate it. That's early days AI. I mean, this was
Yep.
the 2020 years and before. I couldn't believe it. I was like, holy shit, I didn't even know this was possible. And that's why I said, no more TikTok. I hate TikTok. I'm done. I'm going full force with YouTube, because
Yeah.
YouTube, at least, it's an American company. They
Right.
care about people, and so I felt like if I follow the rules on YouTube, this will be more lucrative. But yeah, TikTok's not to be trusted. And if you look at the monetary things, I follow a lot of
Right.
content creators that do it all, and they always post how much they make on the platforms. TikTok pays very little.
Yeah, I heard the same
Very
thing.
little.
Actually, I heard they don't have to pay. They pay pennies on the dollar.
Yeah. And then they're gonna steal you anyway. They're stealing you behind your back, probably when you're still intact. So
And
why
then
bother?
that's it's a TikTok is a Chinese company
Hmm.
owned by the Chinese. The Chinese don't like us. They don't like us. The Chinese
I
don't.
don't understand it, because they come over here. And here's the thing. I'm going to bring this up. I probably shouldn't, but there was a whole thing on TikTok, and I know it got a knock against me back in
Yeah.
the day, where they were saying, stop Asian hate. I spoke out. I said, who the fuck hates Asians? Who the fuck talks shit on Asians? Have you ever heard this in your life? I've never heard it.
I
I've
know.
never heard anybody be like, talk smack, unless they're like a Vietnam vet.
Right.
Okay, and they went through Vietnam. I've never heard that. I went to school with Asians. They were treated like they're white. And then I even looked it up online, and I posted proof of it. Asians are predominantly treated white.
They
So why
are.
are these Asians trying to act like they being racist again? People treating them racistly when they're not. It's fake. It was a TikTok conspiracy theory that they created, and it was not real. And so I tried to blow the water out of it. I was like, I ain't playing this game. And so, so I'm like, that's bullshit.
Right.
I've seen some
Right.
racism. I never seen it against Asians. Never in my life. So I said, no, no. And I blew it out the water. Well, didn't my channel just, and then I got banned. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know. I don't even care anymore at this point. But you know what I mean? They started that crap. It's a Chinese company
It
trying
is.
to act like there's this Asian hate that they made up, and it's not real. Y'all been coming to this country and taking over, and restaurant this and restaurant that, and I mean, they're smart. They're very a smart culture. I'm not gonna lie
Right.
about that. But like, you come in and take our education for free. Be thankful. Be
Fact.
thankful that we accept you
Fact.
in like that. Like, be thankful. Because we got people that grew up here that don't get treated that good.
Right.
And it blew my fucking mind. I was like, I don't know. I was not happy about that. I'm gonna tell you what. I was like, let's pull the rug out from under this shit. And then I went down. I went down on TikTok, and it didn't work out for me. So now I guess after my lesson, I should probably shut up on YouTube. But it's true. It's true. I don't care who says what. I've never seen it in my life, and that doesn't mean it doesn't happen. It may have happened here or there. But the only time I've ever seen any racist anything against an Asian is like some old Vietnam vet telling me not to buy a Honda.
Right.
You know, that's it. That's all I've ever seen. So I wasn't having it, and I don't know. TikTok is crap, and I wish they would have kept it banned.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
I mean, people protested for TikTok to come back.
Because they think they're going to make money. They're so on the bit. You know what I mean? Oh, the chasing the carrot. They think they're going to make money. Even on YouTube, when you get monetized, what do you make? You don't make nothing. You make pennies, right? It's just, it's a platform. It's a platform to get your word out. But you're not really going to make money unless you have like endorsements, right? You know, like
Right.
let's say I'm gonna wear my Nikes and show them off, or I'm gonna wear my beautiful marijuana shirt or whatever, and you know, True Leave gonna help me out. But like, it, you're not gonna make money just being a content creator unless you think outside the box.
Facts.
So I mean, to be like that, like TikTok's the end all be all. That's crazy.
Right. You make more money on YouTube than TikTok anyway.
Facts. Now
Cause
TikTok
on you
Shop threw a wrench in that, but you still got to be a seller. You still got to hawk products that aren't yours.
exactly. But YouTube pay more anyway. I'd rather be on here.
Yeah, and it's
That's
more
my
legit. It's an American company. I mean, here's the thing. It's Google.
right.
So Google, YouTube, you know the truth, right? Like
Oh yeah.
Google and YouTube and Canva, it's all one. And there's
Yep.
more. And it's called
Right.
ABC Company, I believe, is
Right.
the big umbrella. And I'm not against it. I love it. I love YouTube. I don't use Google on a regular, but like I do use Google. I use Google
Right.
for my business to promote my business. And so I mean it's beneficial. It's more American in my eyes. And
It is.
that's what we got to do. And I don't love being like that, but seeing what TikTok did to me,
Messed
sour,
up. That's messed
sour
up.
grapes, sour
Messed up.
grapes. Did you ever do TikTok?
I have, but I stopped because I wasn't gaining no traction.
Yeah.
I wasn't getting no traction on that, so I completely stopped it.
You got to play their games. You got to do their trends. You got to do this and that. I hate to say it, but YouTube's getting like that too with the shorts.
Right. It is. I
And I
kind
noticed if my channel's lagging a little, I'll go jump on the trends and I'll do something like I did one the other day and it was like pick up your fingers or something.
right.
Then all of a sudden I got like 20 followers after that. I'm like, are you kidding me?
That's what it takes.
It's
Sometimes.
whatever. If I gotta do it, I gotta do it. But it's just
Right.
funny to me. It's funny.
Right.
I always loved Instagram, but it's Meta. I hate Meta. Hate Facebook.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Facebook don't even pay as much as TikTok either, from my understanding.
I'm not like a real content creator on Facebook. I opened it
Yeah.
up so that I could be and could make money, but I tend to just like to post, things to make people mad or get
Right.
people riled up. That's it. Like I don't do reels or none of that crap.
Yeah.
I've done a couple. I don't know. I used to keep it real private, and then I got to this point where I was harassed by this one girl, and then I said, "Fuck it," and I opened it all up. So I'm like, if she's gonna harass me anyway, whatever.
Right.
You
It
know,
it'll help bring traction to your page. Why
haters
not?
are viewers.
Yeah.
Haters are viewers, and that's the sad fact.
Yeah.
The
That's a
sad.
whole strategy.
It is. It actually could be if you wanted to build your life on it, but I don't know. I don't know, but I don't know. This conversation has been great. I knew like when we started chatting, it would flow.
Right.
We planned a little bit, but I knew that it would just flow, and it went
Right.
really well. We had 104 minutes.
Unbelievable.
I love it though. So, do you live in your van, or what you living in?
I
Are you on
mean,
the road permanently?
I drive across the country. I'm an expediter. I go from state to state. Yeah,
Okay.
and I deal with logistics. So, but a lot of times I'll drive out here 3 weeks, then I'll go back to Georgia and be out for like 3 or 4 days, get in my car, go home, kick it with my brother, my nephew.
I love Georgia. Georgia's a
Yeah,
great
yeah,
state. It's got some
yeah.
green left to it, which is weird.
Right. Because I live in Georgia right now, so yeah, I'm a Georgia boy. I'm
Oh,
originally from Mississippi, because that's why I gave myself the name SIPPI King.
oh, that's where SIPPI King comes from. Okay, I
Yeah,
like
yeah. I'm from Mississippi, born and raised,
it.
and I lived in Georgia I've been in Georgia since 2013. So basically, I've been in Georgia like I say 12 years now, really. 12
That's
years.
amazing. So me and my boyfriend, we go up to the mountains all the time. So
Yeah.
I will get in touch with you and like I'll let you know because we drive through Georgia all the time. And I would love to meet you in person. Maybe we could even do something in person. That'd be cool. But like Georgia is amazing. It's like a hidden little gem that people don't realize. The only thing that's weird about Georgia is the restaurants.
Right.
All chains and junk. Like Hardee's and Dunkin'
Yeah.
Donuts. And that's it. Like
Right.
we looked at Valdosta to put our cheesesteak restaurant in there.
Yeah, Valdosta's like a laid back little community. Like it,
Growing.
it's some pretty good spots there, but I think you'd be better off probably like a bigger city. I wouldn't advise
What's bigger? There's
Buckhead.
only Atlanta.
Yeah, Buckhead. I was gonna tell you Buckhead, because
Oh,
Buckhead,
Buckhead. Yeah, I've heard of them.
yeah, Buckhead is like it's part of Atlanta, but it's like a community, like a whole community that's within that city.
Interesting. Okay, I don't know if I
Yeah,
spent time there.
yeah. But Buckhead, Savannah, Georgia have a lot to offer.
I love
So,
Savannah, but
yeah,
Savannah's so bougie.
yeah, kind of, yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's like
yeah.
okay, so there's parts that aren't, but when I've talked to people in Atlanta, it's like I don't know. I just get the eye rolls of like
I will tell you
the
this.
restaurants are nice there. They're very nice restaurants
Yeah,
in Savannah, in Atlanta, but those are really the only places that I've seen like really nice places. But it's
right.
almost like Savannah just too big for its britches, in my opinion. Like, cut it out. Be Georgia.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know. Like we were talking about, be yourself. You know what I mean? It's like Atlanta. Sorry, Savannah wants to be little Atlanta.
yep.
You
I
know,
noticed. I've been
embrace culture. Chill
right.
out. Be relaxed. You're by
Fact,
the river. I
facts.
and I went there for St. Patrick's Day one year, and oh my god, what a mess! What a mess! I'll post a picture. I have a picture of me with like green dreadlocks. It was
Yeah,
funny. But I had a good time for it. But it was crazy. So you can't use bathrooms anywhere unless you buy something.
right.
But it's a drinking holiday, and then it's over $1,000 fine if you pee in the street.
One thing about it, you won't have anywhere to park. Yeah, you got
Money,
to pay
money,
to park.
money,
Yep, pay to
money,
park.
money, money.
Yep.
Yeah, we had an Airbnb right in town and we're trying to walk to things. So it was cheaper for us to Uber back to the Airbnb to pee. And it took less time than to wait in line for a bathroom or to go in and buy something to use the bathroom.
Wow.
Yeah, it made
Wow.
no sense. So it's like such a money grab to do that. I said, I'll never do it again.
Mm,
Never do it again. But I do love Georgia. I do love it. It's like this hidden gem that people don't know about.
right. It's
Much like
Georgia.
North Carolina, South Carolina. I love
Right.
Beaufort, South Carolina. Just
I,
love Beaufort. It's a
I
beautiful.
love I love South Carolina. Like I done dropped off loads in that state 100 million times.
You ever drive through
Oh,
to see all those
yeah.
Wu-Tang flags?
Yes.
What's up with that?
Oh no. I could.
I always wondered. I'm like, is Wu-Tang from South Carolina? They're not. So like,
Right.
what's up with that? There's like this massive following in South Carolina for Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
I'm here for it, but I couldn't believe it. I was like, this is so funny. Every time I go through there, I'm like, this is great.
Yeah. You see that. You see that everywhere. I'm talking everywhere.
So funny. I'm about to get one for my house, but
Oh, you
I
follow.
couldn't believe that.
Okay.
The
Okay.
South is funny.
Yeah.
The
But
South is funny.
right now I'm in North Carolina. Like it's nice here. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of
North Carolina, a little more bougie than South Carolina. It's a
yeah,
little more expensive.
it is. But I just like the scenery, like the
It's
lakes.
clean.
Yeah, the lakes, the parks. You know, you
Yeah.
have a lot of wooded parks here. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So it's nice. It's beautiful.
Campgrounds and everything. It's
Yeah,
very beautiful. There's a lake, begins with a W, that like I've been near. I can't remember the name of it, but like my boyfriend's sister lives up near there, and we've been up there a lot of the times. And I really like hiking up there and the waterfalls and everything. It's beautiful. I love
right.
Helen, Georgia. It's cute. Have you been to Helen?
I've been there a couple times.
What a joke, but it's like cute. You know what I mean? It's cute, something to do in the middle of nowhere. I went to the
Yeah,
Georgia Guidestones before they got blown up. Did
right.
you ever see them?
Never.
You didn't? Oh
I
man,
mean,
I'm
I'm not gonna lie
so
to you.
glad. So was what year was it? 2019, I think. 2019 for my birthday. I went up there, drove up to the Georgia Guidestones. I'm so glad I did, because it wasn't long after that they blew them up. And I have pictures. I'm gonna do a video about that one day,
Yeah, do
because
that. Yeah, you need to. Yeah, do
it was
that.
crazy. I mean, I didn't take a lot of video when I was there because I wasn't a YouTuber at the time, but
Right,
I have pictures and I could do it over, an over voice or whatever. And I just can't believe that that happened.
man.
Strange, real strange. And it was weird when you went up there. It was like in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Right.
It was near Athens, kind of, but like middle of nowhere. And I'm just like, what is going on? And it was like some religious guy erected this stuff. And then, oh, boom, they blew up. Well, nothing to see here, folks.
Whoa. Matter
Georgia's
of
funny
fact,
like
hey, matter of fact, when at the time that happened, I was in Alabama then.
you were?
I was in Alabama. I wasn't. I mean, I was still living in Georgia, but my job required me to be in Alabama. So
Right.
I was in Alabama like 5, 6 days a week. Then I came back home in Georgia maybe once or twice a week, and I didn't really catch the news or anything about Georgia because I was always gone from Georgia. That's why I didn't know anything about it. I
Right.
wasn't aware of this at all. But now since you mention it, now I know. I
It's
didn't know.
wild.
Yeah,
There's some
yeah,
wild stuff out there, man. I
yeah. Cause I
can't even
mean,
get into it.
I'm gonna tell you too. You know that there's cabins in Georgia too, like cabins with lakes around it. Then you have your RVs there. Um, Matter of fact, Pine Mountain, Georgia, is a little small town with a cabin, like a cabin park, like cabin houses. I'm talking about here,
Hmm.
and like I worked out there one time. Like that's some nice scenery.
Right.
Beautiful scenery, and you can actually I forgot the name of the actual cabin park, but I know you can get online and reserve a reservation for it.
I'll have to check it out because I love going to
Yeah,
Georgia. I
yeah,
love Georgia.
yeah. Look up Pine Mountain, Georgia, and
I will.
my understanding, it doesn't cost that much. It costs like a couple $100 for the whole weekend.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's cheap because I
yeah.
mean, Florida, you can't even find a hotel room for less than 250.
Tell me about it. I know all about it.
Florida's stupid. Florida's stupid. It's like they
Yeah,
want it for the elite, but like, come on, some of it ain't up to elite par. You know what I mean? Like, it's just
right,
ridiculous. They want it to all be golfers and Trumpers, and it's just not. It's like we don't all have that money.
right. Yep, they basically trying to drain the poor and become richer.
They don't want the poor. They don't want anybody average traveling.
Right,
That's my opinion.
right.
We'll talk more about that on our next live, but I want
Thanks.
everybody, y'all, check out the link. I posted in the beginning. I'm gonna post it again. I had just posted this funny link. I don't know if you see my posted link,
Uh, Let me look. Scroll down.
but I
Oh, I
just
see.
posted SIPPI King's link to his book, and I want you to go check out his book. It's only $10, $15, 10 for the Kindle, 15 for the paperback version if you're old school like me, and go check it out. I mean, the least it's gonna do. the best it's gonna do is open your mind, right? The least it's gonna do is drain you 15 bucks.
I
Go
know,
check
right?
it out. It might like blow your world up. It might like be the best thing you ever had happen to you. How do you know until you try, right? And
Exactly.
so I really want everybody to check out his book. He inspires me to write a book. So I hope he inspires you as well. And I mean, I really love doing this live, SIPPI King. We got to do this again because, like, I knew we'd have an awesome live. I
Right.
knew, I don't care if anybody's in here or not, they'll see the replay. But the point
Right.
is, like, I knew we bounce off each other really good because we have really similar channels and we got similar mindset, and you're fucking cool. I'm fucking cool.
Are
So
you
we
too?
both our own people. We're
Yep.
not trying to copy nobody. So I knew this would go really well. I'm so glad it did. It finally worked out. Stupid
Right.
Matrix want to get in the way, but we don't worry about that. We just roll with it. So thank you so much.
Are you welcome? It's been my pleasure.
You're the
Salute.
best, man. I can't even worship you enough. So I appreciate you so much. I've got to end this because I got to use the bathroom. I got to feed this cat. This is bothering me. And I had to send my boyfriend to work. So I got to go check on him, make sure he's not freaking out.
Right. And
But y'all
I said
amazing.
hello.
What's up?
Tell your husband and your son I said hello. Do it
Yes, I
for him.
will. And I'm gonna tell
Hey,
you, I'll get in touch and we'll talk about Georgia. If you're in that area when we go up, like we gotta stop and talk off camera. You know what I'm saying?
facts.
All
Facts.
right, man. It's been amazing. Thank you so much.
Are you welcome? Anytime.
All right, man. Same here.
All right. Stay safe now.
You too.